Oh, take these broken wings to the broken city of dreams. Anyway, that's not how the song goes, I know. But this is a paid request for Jonathan, who once again was very kind to send me a group of requests. Thank you so much, man. I apologize for the lateness, but thank you for your generosity and thank you for your patience. I really do appreciate it, and I hope you enjoy the reviews. But thank you so much. And first off, before I start, if anyone wants to request any other type of videos, movie reviews, re-reviews, random thought streams, commentaries, tier lists, rankings, video game playthroughs, whatever the case may be, feel free to send it either directly to my PayPal. Do have a Cash App as well. Links are down below in the info box, and I will get to it as soon as I possibly can. For those who sent them, thank you. I do appreciate it. Now, this is for Broken City from 2013. Now, if you're wondering what the hell this movie is, I don't blame you, because this is one of those movies that, once in a while a movie gets into January and it's pretty good. The first Tremors film with Kevin Bacon was a January movie, and that's a pretty good film. But then a lot of times it'd be labeled the dumping month. We don't dump the movie here, because no one else gives shit. This is one of those dumping movies. And it's a hell of a dump. It's Allen Hughes, one of the Hughes brothers, the guys who did Menace to Society, one of them did this film. Guess, maybe they should be working together all the time, if that's the case. It stars Mark Wahlberg, Marty Martinez Funky Bunch, and I've talked about Mark Wahlberg before. There's plenty of films he's in I liked. I don't mind Boogie Nights. I liked the film Patriots Day, Fear, The Big Hit, The Italian Job. But he's one of those guys I just got tired of seeing. I got tired of seeing him, and I'm like, can't it be another guy? And then, there's other films of his I like the other guys, and then there's ones I don't. The Happening, some of the stuff he did for Netflix, like, was it Spencer Confidential? And you have films like this that are just completely, utterly forgettable. And that's the best way to describe this film. Instantly forgettable. This is a film that you've seen done a dozen times upon a dozen times. It doesn't do anything that unique, stylish, intriguing, or different to stand out of the pack. I've seen this story in a number of procedural cop shows, whether it be Law and Order or other stuff. I've probably seen this on an episode of Monk. Remember Tony Shalhoub and other shows. This is a story. Mark Wahlberg is a cop. In this case, he's on trial because this guy who assaulted and sexually assaulted this person, he got off in a technicality. He ended up being dead later. Mark Wahlberg's on trial because they say he did it. There's this evidence, but the evidence gets mysteriously lost, and then he's let go. The mayor is Russell Crowe. The mayor shakes his hand and goes, "Hey, good for us to be friends. I think you're a hero." Jeffrey Wright, who's been in a lot of stuff, he says, "Well, you may be free, but you're off the force." It's 7 years later. He's trying to be a private investigator, Mark Wahlberg. His business is failing. He has an assistant, female assistant. He has a girlfriend who wants to be an actress. And he gets hired by Russell Crowe. "I want you to follow my wife," played by Catherine Zeta-Jones, "because I think my wife is cheating on me." Now think about this. You have Russell Crowe. The way his demeanor is, you pretty much know he's going to be the villain. "I want you to follow my wife." You know someone's going to die, and then Mark Wahlberg's going to have to investigate, and it's going to lead back to Russell Crowe. You know this, and all it does is follow that trajectory. I bet you could tell me a number of movies and TV shows that general idea there you could think of off the top of your head. Spoilers, he does follow Catherine Zeta-Jones. He takes pictures. It seems like she's linked up with the guy running managing the guy who's running for mayor against Russell Crowe. The guy running for mayor against Russell Crowe is Barry Pepper, star of Battlefield Earth. His manager is Kyle Chandler. Kyle Chandler's been a number of stuff. He was in Super 8. He was in the last couple Godzilla versus. He was in Godzilla Team of the Monsters. I think he was in Godzilla versus Kong. I know he's in Team of the Monsters. Kyle Chandler, Barry Pepper, Russell Crowe. I think they're all good actors. These are roles anybody could have played. Anybody could have. One night, while he's doing all this, Mark Wahlberg goes to his girlfriend's movie premiere, and he sees that she gets into a heavy sex scene. He gets upset. I guess she had told him it was just going to be a little love scene. And I'm sitting there going, okay, well, some of this is your fault because you're not going to tell your boyfriend you don't get porked. Like, that dick is going to be up your ass so much you don't play tonsil hockey with it. Or up your cooch so much it's stooch to the booches with your bush. I mean, I would want my girlfriend to tell me that, give me a heads up, because a little love scene is, over the clothes, hanky-panky, not in the stinky or the coochie. Some may say the same thing, some may say different. That's up to you. But he gets pissed, she dumps his ass, he gets drunk. It's like they want to bring up this whole idea that he's an alcoholic and that's going to be a big thing. He's off the wagon. But then nothing really comes of it. He throws a couple stuff, he gets to a fight with a random guy, and then none of that really comes into play. Him being an alcoholic, him being off the wagon, none of that ever comes into play ever again. So then you go, well, why the fuck was this here in the first place? If nothing about this pertains to later on, not his girlfriend dumping him, not his alcoholism now back in full force, nothing of this pertains to anything in the future. So you could call this out and nothing would change. He gets called to a crime scene and Kyle Chandler is dead. And then it's him going up and asking people questions. Catherine Zeta-Jones going, you don't know what you're talking about. My husband sent you to look at me, follow me. Well, he's full of shit. He's a guy you should be aware of. Mark Wahlberg and Jeffrey Wright talked to Barry Pepper. Your manager's dead. Did you have something to do with it? He's like, no, I didn't. And in fact, he was supposed to give me some info. And tell me if you haven't heard this one before. A politician, a housing development, where instead of this for people and they don't become homeless, they don't make tall buildings and skyscrapers and get rich. I swear I've seen episodes of that on the fucking A-Team back in the day and some other shit. Again, nothing about this is really that unique. Not the dialogue, not the trajectory of the characters. None of it. It's run-of-the-mill, not even a mystery, because you can guess what's going on within the first 20 minutes. Maybe less so. There's a housing development. No, we don't sell to these people to build rich skyscrapers so we can get rich, while the other people get evicted and they're going to be homeless. Action-wise, there's very, very, very little action. There's one little car chase where some cars get bashed. He gets banged up, him being Mark Wahlberg gets banged up a little. There's one little scuffle where Mark Wahlberg and a guy fight for a little bit. And I mean, it's like a little Less than a minute scuffle. A guy tells Mark Wahlberg most of the info. Mark Wahlberg confronts Russell Crowe. Russell Crowe goes, "Hey, remember that video from the beginning of the movie? The evidence that was missing? I have it. This evidence shows you killed that guy in cold blood, the guy who sexually assaulted the person. You killed him in cold blood. So you worked with me or I released the video." Mark doesn't even think about it for too long. He goes to the authorities, tells Jeffrey Wright, and then Jeffrey Wright arrests Russell Crowe. I guess we get the idea Jeffrey Wright is the one fucking Catherine Zeta-Jones, not Kyle Chandler. So Crowe was wrong about that. Eating Crowe for that. Barry Pepper wins mayor. And then Mark Wahlberg says ciao to his assistant. Which she was barely a character in this movie. Like, there were times I would forget she was even part of the movie. Like, she was such a nothing character. And then Mark Wahlberg goes out with Jeffrey Wright, and obviously he's going to have penance for what he did. And literally the last shot, he goes out of the bar, and slow-mo he turns and goes, in slow-mo, like this to the female assistant. Goes out the door and goes, what, like you're fucking Elvis or something? Thank you very much. This is just such a lame, forgettable movie. Mark Wahlberg, he's playing the same character he played in a dozen films. And at times played, like The Departed, he played it better. Patriots Day, better. This was nothing. Russell Crowe, I think he's a good actor. He could play this in his sleep. He almost did. Catherine Zeta-Jones, again, anybody could have played her part. There wasn't really a whole lot of scenes for her to get a lot of good acting moments. There's very little action. There's a lack of thrills because it's completely predictable. When you knew that evidence was missing, and obviously Russell Crowe he's up to no good, you know the evidence is going to pop up sooner or later. There's no twists. There's no big surprises. The only bit of style you could almost see is the very beginning, where it's the slow-mo of Mark Wahlberg shooting a gun, and it slowly pans around him, and it slowly pans, and it goes towards a dead body. That's the first scene, the first shot, and the rest of the movie, there's a severe lack of style for a film that it's one of the Hughes brothers. You would not have guessed that. And it bombed. This film was a big bomb. I can see why. And I bet you haven't heard one single person mention this film until today that you're watching this video. There's a reason for that. If you like the film, be my guest. This film was boring, predictable, lame horseshit. There you go. Thanks for watching. Take care. We'll see you guys later. Bye-bye for now.